worksheet with a joke on it, and some of you are still talking right now, even as I'm about to solve some of these pieces for you. So if you don't have this done, like it is going in map. That's not what I meant to do. So, when we approach this problem, we look at that half circle and we say, okay, well, if I treat it like it's a whole circle, I can do that math and then I can cut it in half. So I know I've got 18, 18, and 18. But from this point to this point is half of a circle. So treat it like it's a whole circle and then divide by 2. So to find the circumference of a circle, we know that crust equals pi dough. Is my little memory trick that hopefully will help you in the future. Or you can just memorize circumference equals pi times diameter. So we do the diameter of 18 that they told us over here times pi. But since there's only half a circle, divide it by 2. And that will come out to be 28.26. Then we still need to add 18, 18, and 18 more. If you have more questions about this problem, you should probably come see me. 6A was very difficult if you haven't ever thought like this. So in 6A, and I'm actually going to clear the ink from the page. The trapdoor is that 10 is what piece of your circle? Yeah, it is the diameter. So if that 10 is your diameter, what is the radius of the circle? 5. Now, first off, since it says find the unshaded area, when we start looking at this, we say, okay, well, the unshaded area is a rectangle, but then take away 3 circles. Kind of looks like a can of tennis balls. Right? Have you ever bought a can of tennis balls? So, okay, well, then I need to figure out this length on this side. How? How do you know that, Daniel?
Because the diameter of the circle is 10, then what you do is add up 10 times 3.
Yeah, if that's 10, that's 10, and that's 10, because they told us that this is 10, this is 30. So, what is 30 times 10?
300.
Hey guys, is your group good, or do I need to split you guys up? Or will you keep talking to each other, and I doubt it's about math? Are we good? Because unless we have this done, which I'm somewhat skeptical, unless we have this totally done, I should see pencils moving and work happening. Landon, if you can't turn your head to look up here, you got to pull your hood down, man. So, for the rectangle, it'd be 10 times 30 or 300. So that's the whole thing. Then we got to figure out the circles. So for our circles, what's our area formula? Pi times radius squared. And we said our radius here is going to be, so we're going to do 3.14 times 5 squared. Now what happens when we square a number? Times itself. So this is going to be 3.14 times 25, 78 something? 78 something? Somebody with, come on, get a calculator. I can't remember.
78.5.
Thank you, my brain's not that strong. I have a lot of things memorized, but...
You don't have every math problem ever memorized?
Well, I just don't like to flex on people. So then, how many of those circles do we have?
All of them.
Ha, funny. 3. So we will take that and say, okay, times 3, because we've got 3 of them. And then we will do 300, take away whatever we got here, and that'll leave us with those leftover pieces. Guys, I don't even know if there's a formula to figure out a shape like this, the little wedge in the corner. If there is a formula to figure out something like that, I sure as heck don't know it. So you have to think about, how do I make this problem easier? Solve the rectangle, take away the missing circles. Questions still about this one? Well, they've been removed, quote unquote, right, or something, or we removed that area. Or maybe the circles are the only thing that's there, and we're trying to say how much blank space is there, like Taylor Swift. So people also asked about this problem during math lunch. So, but this from a different worksheet. So are there more questions from the circles worksheet? This is a bunch of what we went over at math lunch. Back to here. Wait. Phoebe? Shouldn't. No, it'd be 300 minus whatever 78.5 times 3 is. 78.5 is 235. So the circles, so Phoebe, you might be doing the subtraction in the backwards order, which is like a common mistake to make. This is 235.5. And that's what we need to take away from 300. So our order needs to be 300, the rectangle, right, 300 minus this 235.5. Make sense? Cool. So we should get 64.5. Yeah. Sure. Oh, that's a nice one. I'm not saying the E word, but it's nicer because we only have one step that we need to do. To drop it into Smart, so then I can write on it. No, I've been using this software ever since I started teaching. I actually do think it is pretty smart because of the things I can do in here. So circumference is 56.5. We said crust is pi dough, making me hungry. What? My grandma's pie. Well, my grandma's gone, so I'll never have like her homemade pie again. So if circumference is 56.5, and that is pi times diameter, guys, what I can write out here is instead of pi, 3.14 times the d that I'm trying to solve for. If this is multiplied, how do I undo that? Division. So we divide both sides by 3.14, and that's how we get to the diameter. You are welcome. Sure. Yeah, I mean that's as many of these as we probably need to go over because I did 8 and 9. I already did examples of 8 and 9. Yes. Those are all the similar types of problems. So yes, as Mallory clarified, the back was meant to be done as well. But hold on. Even if you're not totally done yet, because we're talking about this as a class, what can you use to tie up a spaceship? Astronauts. Like knots that you like tie with, but like astronauts like.
We're definitely like laughing. I think we're hearing.
You should end up with.
Oh
On the back. Now this joke might hurt some of y'all's feelings. What happened when the TV set? Now don't shout out the answer, but does anyone have questions on problems from the back here before we switch to the other worksheet? It's all the same type of stuff.
That's a lot of circles.
Let's keep it PG here. You realize I'm recording this class right now. I don't need my YouTube channel to get marked as inappropriate. Phoebe? Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to ask about that, so thank you. Question 10 does not want you to count squares. Question 10, now if you counted squares, I mean, okay, sure, but these little bits, I don't know how you're going to count these tiny pieces. And they're not halves, right? Nah. So, what's our area formula? Pi. Pi times radius squared. What is the radius here?
I said it backwards.
5. Hey, the side conversations need to stop, or I'm going to have to actually bring us together to do the same thing. I know some of us are doing other stuff, because if you're done with this worksheet, that's okay. Because if we count squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the radius from that middle point out to the edge is 5. So we will do 5 squared times pi, which I think we actually did on the back of this. I think we just did that a couple problems ago. I think it was like 78 point something, I think. Zero, are you done with all these? You done with all these? Why are you talking then? I'd be writing things down if I was you. Avery? Okay. Ava, you done with all these? Oh, I don't care. I got extras. You forgot both at home? So try to remember which ones you did and didn't do so far. So guys, I'm sorry if you somehow thought that because I didn't collect this 2 days after I assigned it that I wasn't going to. Sorry if you made that assumption. But we're going to keep practicing math until the end of the school year. Now, a lot of how that's going to look in class is going to be Desmos activities or riddles or things like that. But what you have to take home is still going to feel a little bit like homework. So still, we'll try to start it in class together. I'm going to come around and give out the next homework here in a minute. But this one you've had for 2 weeks, right? I gave you this 2 weeks ago. What happened to my other worksheet? It is this one, isn't it? Yes. All right, on the what did the farmers, let's go ahead and say the punchline that you're searching for then. What happened when the TV set asked the remote control for a date, CX?
She turned him down.
She turned him down. Get it? Volume? Shh. Yo! You guys are lucky they repeat that. They used to not. You have to shut up when that thing makes its noise. Sorry, there's no nicer way to... You have to be quiet. No, shut up. When that comes on, you stop talking. No, I'm allowed to say that. You shouldn't. I mean, I shouldn't either, but some of you have lost your what's supposed to happen guidance. All right. On 4, on the side... I'm literally asking right now, what questions do you need help on? And you're over here acting like somebody's torturing you. I'm trying to do your homework for you. So on the Farmer's Daughter Lazy Cows worksheet,
Okay.
let's look at number 4, because somebody earlier came and asked me about number 4. So guys, surface area. Surface area is more difficult than volume. Because there's more steps. Yeah, it's more difficult. I did. Surface area says take each face. What is the area of everything combined? So guys, in a triangular prism where we got a triangle on bottom, triangle on top, remember bottom and top don't necessarily mean bottom and top. Here, they are the bottom and the top. But the bases do not have to be on the bottom. I can set this like this, and the triangle is still my base. So when we take this apart, it's really 2 triangles, 3 rectangles, right? A little bit easier to see if I hold it this way. You can see the light shining through. So, question or comment?
Question?
Well, about this?
Yeah, I don't have the paper. I don't think I was here.
Do you need me to get it? I was about to say, you guys know where extras are. Hey, I get it that when we come here, we're at the end of the day, but some of you are too off the wall and you don't have your homework done, and then you're going to come and complain to me later that you're not master and you're not allowed to do something. When did you collect this? And all these sob stories that I don't care about because you don't listen. So listen. I know it's April, but guys, it's not the end of school yet. I got 12 more class days with you. That's it, though. I only have 12 more class days with you. CX? I don't know. Well, they're watching a movie next door, so quite frankly, probably that.
There's a guy named Frank.
Triangles.
I love triangles.
Now, I like these worksheets a lot. And I'm not going to say I dislike this, but I will say there are trapdoors. And the trapdoors come down to where the labels are. So before I talk about the triangles, we're going to talk about the rectangles real quick. So triangle formula is down here. But guys, if we look at the back, imagine the back of this rectangle, the back of this shape. It is 12 meters wide, and they tell us that over here with that arrow pointing in. So this 12 meters is telling us that this edge back here is 12. And then how tall is the shape no matter what part of it we're looking at? 8. So we do 12 by 8 and get that back rectangle. But we need the area of everything, so we keep going. The left face, the left side, is still 8 tall, like the back was. So it's still 8 tall, but now it's 6 wide, so we do 6 by 8. The right rectangle, right here, still 8 tall, but now this is 9. So we do 9 times 8. Any questions on the rectangles? I don't know what you were doing. You waving down a plane? No. Oh no. Oh no. Gosh, that's so annoying. What's it from? TikTok or somewhere? I'm not even on TikTok. Hi. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I agree. I can help you.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's a word. Mrs. Goldring and I are always help. I don't know what I'm going to do without Mrs. Goldring next year, really, essentially. Like, my heart's breaking slowly every... No, my heart is slowly breaking. So, base and height of the triangles. This is where you're messing up. But or you're not messing up, and then good. Base and height of a triangle are always perpendicular to each other. So guys, if I erase all this and look at this top triangle, that right triangle symbol indicates where the base and the height meet each other, and the height is not necessarily an edge, right? The height of it is how tall that triangle would be if I made the triangle like have the bottom on the ground. So the base of it is 6 times the height of it is 10. But then, because it's a triangle, we divide by 2, and that one triangle is 30. But then I've got another 30. Probably just trying to creep you out. Then I've got another. So guys, all five of my faces there are all of these numbers. We now have to add all of those up.
Nice.
All of those up.
LOL. Mr. Hudson has jokes today.
Literally jokes on the worksheets. I actually really like the joke on today's worksheet. Well, the start of it is, what do you call it when 50 people stand on a wooden dock? But the punchline, you'll have to do your homework to find out. Of that same side. 11 of that same side, or... Oh! Let's talk about 10 first. Look at 10 on that same side. Guys, 10 is actually easier because they broke it apart for you. It just looks a little scary because if we try to look at it all at once, I don't know how to solve that all at once, but math is not about speed. So when they tell us about A, B, and C, I would label. Okay, so if that's A over there, that means this side is 20. If that's A over there on what I've kind of shaded as my blue rectangle, this edge over here is 20. I mean, so is this edge over here. I just don't want to write a ton on the same side. They tell us that B is 25, so that means all of these distances across would be 25s. They tell us that C is 28, so this distance here is 28. And then, for the triangles, the base and the height that we need are both 20s, because they tell us over here A and A. Because if I wrap that shape back up and I fold the net back together, because the net is when we cut it apart, lay it flat. So when I fold the net back together, this blue rectangle would line up with this blue edge of the triangle. The pink rectangle would line up with the pink edge of the rectangle. And the orange edges would just stay where they are. Questions about 10? Because I'm not doing more than that. 0, you okay? Well, are you done with this? Then you're not fine. You should be doing these problems. Or if you've already done the one I'm talking about, you should be doing another one. Don't make me make a seating chart in the last month of school. You'll be the first class to do that. In previous years, I had a seating chart, and then now was when I would finally let kids sit where they want, but now you're making me question if I can let you sit where you want. Because your group cannot stop talking today. So 11. Because somebody wanted this 11, right? Okay. They tell you the length, width, and height of the classroom. So guys, imagine in this room, right? Not this room because I don't have any windows really. Length, width, height. I have 2 matching walls, except for you got to imagine my room's a perfect rectangle. 2 matching walls at the front and back that share the same lengths and heights. So solve that, double it. The walls opposite each other on the other side would share the same widths and heights. And then, they only care about the walls. Right? We only care about the walls.
That's what I did wrong.
Do not take into account the floor and the ceiling. That would be silly. Not when doing math.
You make me cackle.
I make you cackle,
You make your cackle and crack.
snap, crackle, and pop. Pop, lock, and drop it. Other questions on this side? Robert. I will help you a tiny bit on 5, but it is very similar to 4, and it's actually kind of easier than 4. So you sure you want to do 5, or do you want to do 6?
I did 6.
You did 6? Okay. Oh, by the way, go ahead and start getting your Chromebooks out whenever you're able to. We're going to start a Desmos activity here in a second.
Can we work on the joke worksheets instead?
Nope, not instead. We're going to do this problem. Then we're going to do a couple from the other side, and then that's it. We're going to do a Desmos activity. So you want to start trying to get to Desmos. Hey, do not let the computer in front of you ruin how you know what we need to do right now. So, as things load, do the next step, but then look back up here. So Robert, mainly for 5, the things that aren't rectangles that might hang you up are that the area of those triangles, base times height, that have to be perpendicular. We use 6 and 8. So it'll be 6 times 8 divided by 2. That'll give you the area of that top triangle. We'll have another of the same area down here. And then each of the rectangles has to be solved separately. On the volume side, the things that were confusing a couple people is here, like in 7, they give you the big B. And we know that our volume formula is always, guys, you're just being disrespectful. If you don't want my help, if you don't want to do math, leave. Go to the office, call your parents, tell them you forgot how to behave. Otherwise, zip it and come along with me to do these problems, or get on Desmos, or I don't care, just sit there silently. But if you're talking to your neighbor, you're just being disrespectful, and I'm over it, because we've been in this working relationship for like 9 months, and while some of you, sometimes seem to respect me, other times seem like you don't give a flying crap about me. It's just rude. And you think that your mask makes it that we can't tell? We can. We're not stupid. And you're also making noise. Unless you're done with this worksheet, I completely do not understand your choices. Because if you're talking to your neighbor instead of trying to finish your homework, guys, this is due. This is going in math. You have to get it done. I don't know why some of you act like it doesn't matter. We're not done with school yet. This is why I hate that we take the tests and then we still have a month. I think that's stupid. We should end with the tests and then just be done. Volume is always big B times H when we're talking about prisms, right? Any prism, which this whole worksheet is prisms. So in number 7, they gave us big B, right? This hexagon, they tell us the big B. All we have to do is multiply it by the height of the prism, which is the distance between the bases. In a problem like 8, we need to solve for the big B, and this is going to be trapezoid area, which we remember uses those little bases. So when we go to do trapezoid area, we do one of the bases plus the other base, then divide by 2. then times the height of the trapezoid. So our bases of our trapezoid are always parallel with each other. So the 2.1 and the 4.7, those are our bases. We add those up, divide by 2, and then the height of that trapezoid is the distance between them, which is different than the height of the prism. Right? The height of the prism, how far between the bases. If you come and ask for help on any of the problems we just did, I will direct you to our class video. I am not resolving any of these. It is not my fault if you chose not to pay attention. Chloe? Yeah. I'll even like redo it. Like I'll start fresh. So, area of a trapezoid is the sum of the bases. So the two bases, the two sides that are parallel with each other, divided by 2 times the height of the trapezoid. So I like to say that B1 is the small base. So in this case, 2.1. B2, the big base, would be 4.7 here. Divide that by 2 because we're actually averaging them. And then times the distance between them, which is 2.5. And that will come out to be 8.5 meters squared. Like when I do all of that math. The things people have come and asked me for with 9 and 11. Yeah, and maybe 10 as well. Is there is a conversion factor. So you first have to find the volume of Bob's bathtub. And then multiply by 7.48 gallons to convert it to gallons. In 11, we find the volume of this prism, and then multiply by 4.3. And then 10 is sort of a challenge problem I'll leave for you guys. Why don't sharks eat clowns? Anybody? Because they taste funny. Okay, so the farmer's daughter punchline isn't that funny, I will admit. Yeah, she wanted to see, I forget exactly the order of the words. Yeah, she liked to see the meatloaf. So loaf is another word for like lazy. If somebody calls you a loafer, they're calling you lazy. And that's where like the shoes, loafers, they're slip-ons. It's a lazy shoe, right? A loafer, and some of your brains are like, holy crap, that's why it's named that. A loafer shoe, you can be lazy and put it on. Be lazy and take it off. You don't have to tie any laces. So the punchline for why the farmer's daughter watched the lazy cows, she liked to see the meatloaf. Loaf as in lazy. Or Meatloaf, rest in peace, one of the musical artists stolen from us in 2021, I think.
What do you mean stolen?
He died.
God,
The world stole the, yes.
God stole him. I'm sorry, Mr. Hudson.
Meatloaf was the artist who sang I Will Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That, which is kind of a funny. Maybe. So in Desmos, we got priorities. In Desmos, what you are looking for is missing measures to help us start filling in our homework for tonight. On this first slide, there is no right answer. I just want to see what you guys say. So pick one, tell me why you picked it, and then move on. There is no right answer. There's no right answer on the second one either. Finally, on the third slide, there are correct answers. Dang it, we need to remember to get Lucy and Mallory these homework. No, they're heading to sports. Alright.
If you give it to me, I'll give it to them at their game.
You don't want to do the homework at their game. This isn't due till Friday. So you're welcome. This is not due till Friday, so I can get it to them tomorrow. This isn't, like, this shouldn't take as long as the surface area and volume worksheets. I know that those were a bit longer. This one will not take as long. No, it's you just to figure out the rest of the punchline. So now that we all know the punchline is astronauts. Yeah, you just needed to do one side of, because all the problems are like identical to each other. Huh? Oh, you already grabbed it. Will you stick them in one of the empty little slot things over there? Yeah. No, just hit login again. Hit login with Google again. Yeah, you're stuck in the loop, the weird Desmos loop. Yeah, missing measures. All right, so as we start this worksheet, for what do we call it when 50 people stand on a wooden dock? As I'm about to give you some answers for your homework. If the sum of the measures. All right, if you don't want answers, that's fine. If the sum of the measures of two angles comes out to be 180 degrees, we call that relationship supplementary. Those of you shouting out obtuse, obtuse is not even an answer on this paper. Look at the bottom where you have the answer set. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 90, like you see right there in slide 3, we call that complementary. Hey Peyton, you writing this stuff down or you just not care about doing your homework? This is not social hour. Knock it off. I don't know if you are, because I would see a change in behavior if you're sorry. I think you're going to say you're sorry and then you go back to doing what you're doing, but I would love to be surprised. In 3,
our first bus will be girls track and boys and girls lacrosse on the west side at 3:55. The second bus will be girls softball and boys track at door 13A at 4:10. Again, Wolves athlete. First bus, girls track and boys and girls lacrosse west side at 3:55. Second bus will be girls softball and boys track at door 13A at 4:10. Thank you.
two angles that are next to each other, sharing a vertex and a side, like this blue angle and this orange angle over here, are called, like your next door neighbor, sharing a fence, adjacent. Adjacent. Next to each other, sharing a side. Yeah, if you're focused on Desmos, that's why I just paused it, because you need to have these down in your paper. And then number 4, the most important, probably, for us doing our homework. If I look at this orange angle over here and this green angle over here, they're called vertical, but the other thing we want to make a note of is they're equal to each other. So either put an equal sign out here or write the word equal for vertical angles are equal. Now, the song that you guys were really making me think of more so than Meatloaf. Have a great day, guys. What you want?